Well, today, Burzine Waghmar, Middle East expert and visiting India Fellow, RUSI London, is joining us now. Good evening and welcome, sir. Burzine, just to understand first this cycle of violence that we witnessed in Iraq, and to what extent is the announcement to quit politics by Muqtada al-Sadr was at the heart of it?
Thank you, Mr. Ghosh. The problems started with a sclerotic administration, which is but in name since the October elections. There has been no president appointed and parliament is practically in limbo. Muqtada al-Sadr's coalition did carry the hustings, it is true, but has been unable to form a government, and this June, all 73 MPs who owed their loyalty to him resigned en masse. On 3rd August, he called for snap elections, but nothing happened with that. And then this Monday, as you know, yesterday, he made this grandstanding announcement of withdrawing from politics, which is why we've seen this violence spiral in the last 24 hours. The point is this, Sadr needs to show himself as more responsible, which is why this announcement has just been made, telling his supporters that he would disavow and have nothing to do with them. Because, Mr. Ghosh, please remember, there is another element, and here is the Chinese element. Are from Iraq, and Sadr and the Shias have assured them security to Chinese expatriates and companies operating in Iraq, and security is a big headache and a cost for Chinese firms who have to factor that in for staying in Iraq, even as others leave. Exxon, Mobil, as US oil giants have left, the Chinese are naturally going to step in, which they already have, and the Shias, and Sadr is on record telling them, I will be here, the local honcho, to provide you security. That needs to be factored in, which is not brought into normal discourses. So naturally, he needs to show himself as responsible, which is why this announcement came this evening. But the point is this, what we are seeing, Mr. Ghosh, is a three-way fight in the last 48 hours between Iraqi security forces and not inter-Shia Sunni clashes as we've seen since 2003, but an I repeat, intra-Shia clash. Sadr has burnt his bridges with Tehran, and Tehran is daggers drawn with him now, although he is a Shia cleric, because Sadr in turn is now pitted against what is the pro-Tehran cluster of parties who are loosely associated as the coalition framework. And the violence in the throughout this day today we've seen is with Southern loyalists attacking these pro-Tehran puppeteers, as they are known as. In fact, one of the Arab slogans in the last few hours this afternoon was the Iraqi court is in the hands of the IRGC, referring to the Iran Revolutionary Guards, the Pasdaran. And that they in turn, and Iranian intelligence, VEVAC, seem to call the shots in Iraq. And that again goes back to Prime Minister Kadhimi's attempts since the election of last October to wean support away and flush out the Iranian element in Iraqi politics.
Right.
I mean, very briefly to do this news, I will say this. Iraq is to Iran what Afghanistan is to Pakistan. Both wish to make these respective countries their client states, and that is why this murky politics is being played out with sectarianism and clashes and endemic violence.
But as we speak, Burzine, how much of an influence does Muqtada al-Sadr continue to wield in Iraq? Post fall of Saddam Hussein, he was seen as a man who wields considerable influence, who could bring Iraq together, really. But as we speak, as of now, what is the road ahead for political stability in Iraq and also the political future of al-Sadr?
Well, Iraq's political future looks grim, and seesaw politics, as it were. And Sadr is a consummate politician. He has changed horses midstream. This man began his political hustings just after 2003 Gulf War II, with that time the Sadrists, today who are known as the Saraya as-Salama, were known as the Mehdi's army, and he was dead set against George Bush Jr. and the American invasion and the coalition forces. Now he has come in a new avatar as the Peace Brigade, The former Mehdi army is a self-styled peace brigade, and he's burnt bridges with Tehran, and relations are very bad. Now, not that relations are hunky-dory with Prime Minister Kadhimi at present too, who incidentally, after the October elections, just escaped a drone assassination attempt on 7th November 2021, if you recollect. Prime Minister Kadhimi, that is. He was a former intelligence officer, incidentally, and a former acting foreign minister. And of course, it has now been proven that the attack, including the explosive drones, can be traced to one or two of the cluster that I mentioned of pro-Tehran Shia coalition. The Ashaib Ahlul Haq was one of the groups, and the Kataib al-Hizbullah, who provided the drones.
Right.
And of course, Tehran is dead set against Kadhimi because they hold him responsible for turning a blind eye to Qasem Soleimani's assassination, thanks to Trump, on 3rd January 2020. So it's wheels within wheels with murky Middle Eastern politics, as it were. And of course, may I conclude by saying that India has always steered clear of West Asian politics of a sectarian nature, and its conduct has been exemplary in its neutrality, and no doubt it will continue in similar vein.
All right, on that note, Burzine Waghmar, thank you very much for joining us in World Today and sharing your perspective.
Thank you, Dudashan.